and good evening. This is a Monday evening in a very rainy canyon known as Topanga, Los Angeles. You guys happen to be all over the world, and if you're watching this, you are part of the Recovery 2.0 global community. And how unbelievably blessed are we to have found each other on this path of discovery. I'm saying thank you every day. I'm saying thank you every day. Now, before we get started tonight, I wanted to ask you guys a question. It came into my mind today. Can somebody, if you're in tonight's meeting, a Monday night meeting, for your first time ever as a member in this community, can you just say yes, or that's me? Anybody here for their first time? Everyone's, oh wait, we got one. Christina. Welcome, Christina. Amazing. Anybody else? Anybody else? We have one newcomer to this meeting. I love it. Wow, Christina. Where are you from, Christina? Where are you from? Ottawa, Canada. My goodness. Well, welcome. And if you're in the meeting and you've been here, let's say who in the meeting, just say yes if you try never to miss a Monday night live. Yes? Ooh, a bunch of you guys. Yeah. I try never to miss Monday Night Live either. I try never to miss this. Okay. Well, welcome to you all. I had to ask that because I was so curious kind of to know who's in the room. Let me ask you guys a sensitive question. We're going to get into steps 10, 11, 12 right here. But who in the group here are not yet a member, an actual member of Recovery 2.0, meaning you're not in the membership. You're on our list and you're on Facebook, but you're not in the membership yet. Okay, got a few folks. Okay, yeah. So hoping that you guys, if you're not in our membership yet, we do this every Monday night. So consider if this is valuable to you. 52 Mondays a year, we get together here and we get to have this beautiful connection together. So come and join us if you're called to do it. Okay, without further ado. Close the eyes. Sit up tall and take a deep inhale through the nose. And a full exhale. A deep inhale. Full exhale. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Welcome. I've given two previous presentations about the 12 steps from the yogic perspective. I've called the presentations Finally Understanding the 12 Steps. This is the third and final presentation in this series. Here we're covering steps 10, 11, and 12. The reason for the series is because I have found that so many people misunderstand these steps and the value that they carry. Many people don't know how to access them and to dig and to unearth that value and to integrate that value into their lives. I feel it's so important because there's something uniquely powerful about the 12 steps that seem to work on people who have struggled with addiction of some form or another. And that the 12 steps as a foundation for recovery, turn out to be a very, very valuable thing indeed. they give us a launching pad from which we can do our seeking and our work and our personal growth and live our lives from this launching pad forever. And here, right here in steps 10, 11, and 12, we're going to finally understand what it was all about. What it was all about. So hang in there with me till the very end. All right, so let's talk about step 10. Step 10 reads, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Remember that in step 9, we made our amends. That means we went to our step 8 list of all the people that we had harmed, had been dishonest to, people we may have cheated or lied or stolen from. We went to those people to clear away the negativity, to release the energetic hold of the past, not just for us, but definitely for the person that we're coming to make an amends to. It's interesting and it's powerful that right after we make our amends, we've completed a process. 1 through 9, step 1 through those 9th step amends is actually the completion of a process to this point. We have been addressing the past, and we have completed, if we've done this thoroughly to the best of our ability, we have completed a process in step 1 through 9. With step 10, we enter a maintain and grow from here phase. So continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Many people look at step 10 as something that's done at the end of a day. And there's something beautiful, extremely powerful, about ending your day with a well-done 10th step. Maybe you're on your knees. Maybe you're sitting up in your bed. Maybe you're at a desk and you've got a journal in front of you. But that step 10 is an investigation of what took place today. That's when we're looking at step 10 sort of from the end of the day perspective. How'd the day go? How did I do today? How did I show up in the world today? How can I get clean before I go to bed? Did I yell at anyone today? Did I carry some form of negativity that needs to be resolved before I go to bed? Is there something on my mind that's creating anxiety or stress or tension in my mind or body? To review a day in this way and to take actions that will help you to become energetically clean at the end of the day, I think anyone could understand the value of that. Ending the day well is one of the most important skills in living a great life. I'll say it again because it's really an unsung kind of idea. Ending the day well is one of the most important skills for living a great life. Of course, it's one of the most important skills on a path of recovery. We have to slow down long enough to allow for reflection. And to reflect at the end of the day, this is going to be one of our keys. So we examine the day. And one thing I want to bring to your mind, and I'm thinking about this all the time, is the level of overwhelm that everybody's reporting to me. I'm completely overwhelmed. And of course, I'm not above that. I have my days. Completely overwhelmed. And so if we're all overwhelmed, all the more reason to take life in 24-hour chunks. And once again, the one day at a time philosophy of these 12 steps, of this way of life, this philosophy serves us so well. Now, you know how it is when you haven't spoken to a dear friend of yours? They come into your mind, you haven't spoken to them, maybe you haven't spoken to them for 6 months. And in the past 6 months, you've been through so much, you've done so much has taken place in your life that you think, I'm going to need like 2 hours to speak to my friend on the phone, and I just don't think I have it in me right now. Like, I have so much to communicate, to get current with my friend. I don't even think I'm going to pick up the phone right now. It's just too much. And then maybe another 6 months goes by, and another 6 months go by, and then one of you finally breaks down and calls the other and says, you know what? I am so sorry I haven't called. So much has been going on. I love you. Let's pick it up from here. Well, the 10th step is an opportunity for you to call your best friend at the end of every single day and stay current. This is your way of not getting overwhelmed. You'll be able to reflect upon what was achieved in that day, what could have been better in your behavior and the way you showed up, and you'll be able to let it go or take an action. Maybe you need to call someone on the phone. Maybe you need to write a letter. Maybe you need to send a quick email. Hey, I'm sorry. I feel like I was a little short with you today. I just wanted to let you know that I was aware of it, and maybe we can talk about it tomorrow if you'd like to, and I'll do better next time. Just being able to do that keeps that overwhelm at bay. This 10th step is an antidote to overwhelm. It will help you to examine this one day. It will help you to take life in a manageable chunk. And it's going to bring you very, very present with what's going on, because you have what I would refer to as a continuum of reflection. You have a continuum of reflection where every day there's a little reflection. And as we look at the 10th step from this end of the day perspective, remember, this doesn't have to be a 30-minute or 60-minute exercise. This can be a 3-minute exercise at the end of your day. You mentally run through the day. Did I do my sadhana practice this morning? How'd that go? How's it feeling? What did I eat today? How'd I do in that department? Hey, did I get a chance to work out today and sweat? Did I laugh today? Did I share joy with some other people today? How did I show up at work today? How was that? And how I've been doing in my mind. And how about that connection with higher power, that sense of being comfortable in my own skin, that sense of knowing and having faith and trusting that things are working out in a good way. How is my sense of gratitude today? So this is an extraordinary practice, and I'm so hoping that you get that you can understand just how powerful it would be to have this continuum of reflection one day after the next. The last thing I want to say about the 10th step before we look at it from the yogic perspective is the 10th step is not something that only happens at the end of a day. The 10th step can take place any time in the day when you catch yourself a little bit off track, a little bit off center, a little misaligned with your heart for a moment, right? It states it very simply. We continue to take personal inventory. This means we're reflecting on how we're doing. And we are keeping that reflection going. And we try to bring greater and greater awareness throughout the day so that if we notice that we are behaving in a way that needs to be cleaned up, we can clean it up just right away. And like that, we are in the continuum of reflection throughout the day. And also, we are not accumulating the energetic baggage of anger, resentment, and we're not putting out negativity into the world and negatively affecting other people's days. My teacher, Guru Prem, he often says, whatever you do, wherever you go, leave a pleasant fragrance behind you. Don't tread too heavily upon other people or upon the earth beneath you. So we're always wanting to be pleasant. Leave something pleasant behind us, okay? So yoga in the 10th step Look at your sadhana practice. So I talk a lot about sadhana. And what does that word mean, sadhana? Sadhana means spiritual practice, meaning a practice that puts you in touch with the unseen aspects of life, a process or practice that brings you to greater sensitivity, greater intuition, greater sense of connection with self, with higher power. That sadhana practice can take place also throughout the day. We talk a lot about morning sadhana practice because when you do your morning sadhana practice, you're setting yourself up correctly to have the best day possible given the current circumstances of your life. Well, the 10th step is nothing more than a sadhana practice. It can take place any time during the day. As I said, when we do it at the end of the day, what a powerful addition to your spiritual practice. Your sadhana practice that comes at the end of the day is the 10th step. Why do we do this? We do it because it's a way of life. This is our way of life. When I say our way of life, I don't just mean people who work the 12 steps and who live a 10th step each day. I also mean many other people who are on a spiritual path, who at the end of a day review, and they do what they can to get energetically clean. Step 10 allows us to do this. Finally, interesting concept, two concepts from the path of yoga. One is called abhyasa, and I'm going to have Stacy put that word, abhyasa, into the chat bar. Abhyasa means steadiness of practice over time. Being steady in a practice over time. Commitment. So I'll write this. I'm not seeing Stacy write this in there, so I'm going to write it in there for you. Oh, there she is. Thanks, Stacy. I'll write it in also. So abhyasa, a powerful concept from the world of yoga, talking about the importance of the steadiness of practice over time, that's going to bring us along our spiritual path, and it's going to bring us toward the state of yoga or union. The other word is vairagya. Vairagya. Another powerful concept. Stacy will put it in, I'll put it on also. Vairagya is, think of it as releasing outcome, letting go of the outcomes. Now, you've heard that in 12-step recovery philosophy. You may have heard that in other recovery philosophies. This idea that we show up, we do the best we can, we truly try the best we can, and then we let go of the results. That's this concept of vairagya. Isn't that beautiful, you guys? That in the path of yoga, which is thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, we see this testimony, this incredible testimony. If you're steady in your practice and you release any attachment to where this is going, you just practice, you show up and you do the best you can, and then you let go. Those two concepts are what the sages tell us are going to lead us the most quickly into the next version of ourselves. So this is going to propel us forward down our spiritual path. And this is what step 10 is all about, that steadiness of practice. We just do this. Why do we do it? We do it because tonight we can go to bed energetically clean. We let go of the rest. Okay, let's take a look at step 11. All right, step 11 reads, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. Now, in step 11 here, this is the first time that we discuss the idea of prayer. First time that we bring up this idea of meditation. interestingly, in my opinion, the entire 12-step program, the entire program is a call to prayer. The whole 12 steps is a call to prayer. But that can get weird for people who come with a little bit of religious prejudice or a lot of religious prejudice. That idea of praying brings up the next question, what am I praying to? And this brings us right back to, well, the God of our understanding. In previous presentations in this series, I can't remember, I think it was the first steps 1 through 3, part 1 of the series, I spoke about God as an energetic concept, a force field, if you will, a generating force, an organizing force, and a destructive force in the universe, that G-O-D, that we could relate to that force any way. Is one of the beautiful things about the 12 steps is there's so much leeway here. You don't have to believe something that you don't believe. You don't have to go down some road that causes you internal conflict. All you have to do is to begin to reflect internally about what it is that you're connecting with and how you see yourself in the world. So, what we're doing when we're praying is we're expressing, in the best of all cases, we're expressing a heartfelt desire. Our most deeply held beliefs and desires expressed internally or verbally or in written form. Success at prayer is called prosperity. Prosperity is success at prayer. Wouldn't you want to be successful with your prayer? In other words, wouldn't you want to be able to pray, to express a deeply held belief and desire, and to be able to see that come to pass in the world? I think any one of us would agree that that'd be a pretty amazing superpower to have that, wouldn't it? And it turns out that we can become really good at this, that we can become really, really, really good at prayer. And so how do we do it? You have to remember that prayers are energy. You are working on directing the energy. You're learning to express these deeply held beliefs. And the way that you do it is key. The reverence that you bring to it, the devotion, the love that you bring to it is so, so important. And the way that you live, the actions that you take in the wake of your prayer, also key. I've seen such revelations come to pass through the prayer, not just my own, but through the prayer of human beings. People ask me, like, do you believe in the power of prayer? It's like, it's not that I believe in it, I know it. I've seen it. It's absolutely the directing of energy in a way that creates a different outcome than might have come to pass otherwise. I mean, let me ask you this. Do you believe in the power of intention? Do you believe that if you intend something, that might help to bring its manifestation? Or do you believe that no matter what you intend, whether you intend something or don't intend, that it makes no difference? Or I would ask you, if you're an athlete or you're a performer like a musician or an artist, if you think it's important to believe in yourself before a race, for example, or before you're going to give a recital, is it important that you intend to do something. Well, of course it's important. Of course it holds energy, your intention. Well, prayer is the same thing. Prayers carry that energy. Prayers carry your desire. Prayers carry your intention. And they also express an energy out into the world that comes from your heart. Now, a lot of people say, well, my prayers haven't come true. Or I prayed for this thing and this thing didn't happen. Or, the thing that I would express to everybody is, you might pray, for example, for a loved one who's sick. And you say, please, I don't want them to go. I don't want it to be their time. And yet, we understand that everything has its time. That there are rules in place. That there are standards and guidelines by which we all have to sort of obey with physical law, at least as long as we're in these bodies. So people say, my prayer didn't come true. And so I'll say, well, what was your prayer? My prayer was that my loved one didn't pass away, or that I prayed to get this job and I didn't get this job. Sometimes when we lose somebody, well, I might say always when we lose somebody, there's this period of grief afterward. We prayed and we prayed and we prayed, and yet this person wasn't saved. Sometimes we lose a child, or we lose someone young, or someone dies suddenly, and we think, wow, my prayer, what about my prayer? And we really must understand that there's something to the mystery of it all that's beyond our comprehension, that our prayer has been heard, always has been heard, and the forces of generating, organizing, and destroying are aware of the prayer always. To me, this is the case. And there's two things I know about the delivery of prayers, of prayers being answered. One, it doesn't happen in our timing. It doesn't even happen within our time. So people are like, well, I prayed for, here's a prayer. I would like there to be 1 million members in Recovery 2.0, meaning we were able to affect 1 million people so positively that 1 million of us connected, and we were all sober and learning and growing and connecting and loving and living in the best way possible. That's a prayer. Now the universe says back to me, well, Tommy, okay, I've heard your prayer, great. You're going to have some work to do. And this isn't something that just happens overnight. You have to work, you have to make mistakes, you have to correct, you have to connect with people, you have to connect with other people, and then there's a few amazing things that happen, and there's a little magic along the way, and you get some momentum, and over some time, whatever the appropriate time is, maybe that prayer comes to pass. Underneath my prayer, I want you to hear this. Underneath my prayer, there's another prayer. My prayer is for the well-being of humanity. And it's out of my hands. But the fact that I intend that through the work that I do, the universe hears it, and the universe is working on the deeper prayer. It may not show up the way I think it's going to show up. But all of this is just to say, I believe profoundly in the power of prayer. I know it to be true. I know it to work. And I encourage all of us to intention set and to pray and to express ourselves, especially as much as we can express ourselves to the benefit of the well-being of humanity, of all the creatures of the world, to end suffering and to move ourselves in a positive direction. To the extent that we can do that, I think that our prayers are going to become more and more and more effective. And we see proof of this every day. We see proof of this every single day. So a couple more things here. So remember that success at prayer is prosperity. If you want to be prosperous, you learn how to pray better. How do you learn how to pray better? You get around people who pray better. You get around people who have a living prayer going on all of the time. and I call them teachers. And when I spot one of them, like my teacher Guru Prem or Swami Chidanand Saraswati Ji or Sadhvi Bhagavati Saraswati Ji in India, or, oh my God, Anandji, or all the other teachers, when I get around those people and they carry that energy, I want to be near them. I want to be near them because I see that they are prosperous. And I'm not talking about financial prosperity. I'm talking about a much, much bigger concept here. We're talking about being prosperous. I have what I need. I don't need anything else. I'm grateful for my life. I still work each day to stay current and to stay present. I work on whatever challenges present. But while I'm doing all that work, I'm super grateful. Now that is prosperity. That's true prosperity. And that is success at prayer. Okay. Meditation. I wish I had 5 hours right now of your time, but I don't. Because to really speak to you about meditation, I would want to go into a meditation. And tonight we're not going to do that. But I'll say a few things about meditation, and my hope is to inspire you. That's all. My hope is to inspire. Okay. Everybody who has ever been stuck in addiction understands what it is to be mastered by your mind. Your mind has been your master, and it is not pleasant. It is so painful. When you feel out of control in that addicted way, that your mind is sending negativity and craving type thoughts and awful, painful thoughts that you just don't want to have these thoughts, but you don't seem to be able to stop it. Who knows what I'm talking about in this room? Who knows what I'm talking about? I mean, my goodness, right? We have so had our asses kicked by this thing. And so one of the beautiful sayings is, the mind is a terrible master, but it's a wonderful servant. Now, how do we get the mind to serve our heart? How do we get the mind to serve our soul? First, we have to develop something. We have to develop a capacity to focus. Now, I'll ask you this question. Do you believe in our world today that we are being, that we're moving collectively towards learning how to focus and concentrate the mind, or in the other direction? I'd like to know what you think. Which direction do you think we're moving in? Are we learning to focus, or are we getting more distracted? Yeah. You guys, some of you wrote the wrong way. Killing me. Yes. We're not developing the capacity for focus and concentration. Not at all. In fact, if anything, we are dulling down our mind, our senses. We're dulling our being, and we are more and more at the mercy of our flitting, monkey, crazy mind. And we follow it around all day. It's guiding us. It's leading. And that is a painful place to live. Now, many of you guys, I think most of us, are sober today in the sense of no drugs and no alcohol. I know that's not everybody in the room, and I don't mean to make anyone feel bad. Wherever you are on your path is great, as long as you're on the path and you're moving forward. For those of us in the room who happen to be sober today, you're sober and still following the mind around. How painful. And without drugs and alcohol to kill and dull the suffering that causes. Well, I know what that's like. I've been there so many days of my life. Sober, but not content. running after my mind, trying to meet every single whim that my mind presents. Oh my God, so painful. What a waste of energy. In order to develop focus, in order to develop clarity, in order to develop intuition, we turn to meditation. Meditation helps us to achieve these things. I would go so far as to say that you cannot live a great life without meditation. You can live sort of, you can bounce around, and sure, you'll have moments of excitement, but you're also going to have great moments of depression. It'll be like this your whole life. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Wee. Who wants to do that? You know, been there so many times. So painful, such a painful existence. So what we do is we get grounded. We find baseline. We start to meditate. And we learn to develop focus. We learn to develop concentration. We actually gain the ability to direct the mind to concentrate. We move out of dullness. We get inspired. And ultimately, we can experience our own true nature. And it doesn't get any more blissful than that. It doesn't get any more blissful than that. You have to take what was the most exciting, epic experience, whatever was the most exciting, epic experience for you in your entire life, and put that to the 10th power. That's what it's like to experience your own true nature, to know who you are, to know where you come from, and to know where you're going, to know what you stand for, and to have the energy to stand up for what you stand for. Now, meditation brings you there. So right here in step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with everything. We're placing ourselves with greater awareness into the mix of the universe. And we pray for knowledge of what the universe wants from us. The way I can put this to you is this. We are, I'm going to say it for me. I don't want to offend anybody. I am being used by the universe, and I love it. I am being used. I am being put to work. I want, to the universe on the top of my head, the crown of my head, I want there to be a big sign. I'm every morning when I do my sadhana, the sign gets built. It says, open for business. Right here, right on the top of my head, going up to sky, up to the heavens. Open for business. Use me. Put me to work. What does it mean? Well, when you say to the universe, put me to work, and you show up in the world in a way that shows the universe that you are ready to work, guess what? You are about to have a bigger life. And that brings us to step 12. Wait, before we get to step 12, let me talk a little about basically the thing I want to say about yoga's perspective on step 11 is step 11 is yoga. It can't be separated. Yoga is the state of union that's attained through meditation. In classical yoga, yoga leads to the state of meditation, which leads to the state of union. So the 11th step, prayer and meditation, is a yogic practice, a yogic principle. And one of the great, 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 beautiful things about the path of yoga is a concept called, this is a big word, 2 words, Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana. I'm going to write it in here. Okay. Ishvara Pranidhana. Ishvara Pranidhana means surrender to the Supreme Being. Surrender to the Supreme Being. Now, for those of you who are religious people, your Supreme Being might be Allah, or it might be Jesus Christ, or it might be Yahweh, or any other word that you have for the Supreme Being. If you're an atheist or an agnostic, you might look at being as not a being, but the state of being. Surrender to the supreme state of being. How about that for a reframe? So this is totally accessible by anybody. It doesn't matter if you're religious, if you're spiritual or not. You're surrendering to the state, here it is, the state of supreme being. That state of being and the surrender into that is what we're talking about here. So Ishvara Pranidhana and the 11th step is what this is all about. You see the connection? We seek through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood God, praying only for knowledge of God's will for us and the power to carry that out. Use me. I surrender to this energy, to this force, to the state of being, which will allow me to be used for the greatest purposes possible that this body and this mind could be used for. Work through me. Work through me. It's a real surrender. It's beautiful, and it's just the best kind of thing to show up in this way. In my experience, it's just been so joyful. Okay. Why? What's next? Step 12. Step 12. Step 12. Here it is. Okay. What was it all about? Step 12 reads, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Okay. All of this work. I'm gonna go back even beyond that. Okay. Are you ready? You need to buckle up for this. Buckle up. Sit down. Sit down for a minute here. Okay, you ready? All right. From my perspective, my addiction was nothing more than the mechanism by which the universe humbled me in order to make me available to the work of these 12 steps. It didn't have to be these 12 steps. It could have been something else, but for me, it was these 12 steps. My addiction was nothing more than a mechanism to humble me. Once I was humbled and I had the intention of surviving, and I had the intention of love, and I had the intention of things being better, the universe said, okay, we will give you a shot at this. You're going to have to show up and do your part in this bargain, but we'll give you a shot in this. This is the forces that be. G, generating. O, organizing. D, destructive. Okay? So there it is. Then get into the 12 steps. What was it all about? It was all about clearing away the wreckage, making the connection, finding greater and greater levels of humanity, greater and greater levels of humility, praying, meditating, releasing the past, getting fully present, and then beginning to show up in the world in the state of service to others. In the 12th step, it's talking about service to other people who are or have been afflicted in the same way we have been. We tried to carry this message to other addicts. But of course, our 12th step can be looked at in a much broader perspective, in a much broader landscape. We are here to serve, period, in any way that is appropriate for us. You know, I used to think, I'm scared. I don't think I can do it. That's not accurate enough. I'm scared. I don't think I want to do this. I don't want to do what? What I was thinking was of Mother Teresa. I can't be Mother Teresa. I used to think, I got to be Mother Teresa, right? That's someone who's of service all the time. Like, that's the example. Or I'd see these guys this is no offense to anybody, but I'd see these guys who were, I was a young man, 25 years old, whatever, 20, 24 years old, those way back when. And I'd see these guys and they smoked cigarettes and they drank coffee like it was all day long. And they ate terrible foods and they were very heavy set and kind of sick in their bodies. But these same men who were heavy set and sick in their bodies and engaged in these habits that I didn't want to engage in, they were saving the lives of thousands of people. They had directed their energy, even though I felt they could have been so much more effective without the cigarettes and the coffee. Nonetheless, these guys were like saints. And I could see that they were helping so many people go through the steps and get sober. And they were just showing up. They were amazing guys, you know. But from my judgmental sort of mind, I was like, wow, I don't think I want that. I mean, I want to help people, but I don't want to be like that. Do you understand where I'm going here? Is the liberation for me to really understand the 12th step. The liberation was it was captivated, encapsulated in the phrase "know thyself." Know thyself. Tommy, you will help people in the way that you can help people. You're not going to be Mother Teresa because you're not Mother Teresa. You're not going to be those guys in the meetings because you're not those guys in the meetings. You're going to be you. The 12 steps set you free to be you in service. You've just been prepped to be used in the way that only you could be used. So you see, you get to be you. I used to worry about having to do something that I didn't want to do. That's not the deal with the universe. The universe wants you to enjoy yourself. Actually, it loves when you have a good time. It's perfectly happy that you enjoy yourself. And there's nothing that says this needs to be hard. So what you do is you show up for people in the attitude of service all the time. So you go to work. Well, you're in service to your colleagues. You're in service to your employer. You're in service to the mission of your company. You're in service to your customers. And you show up in service. You do the best you can to serve those people to the best of your ability. Many people say, well, I don't like my job. I don't feel that way. And I say, that's okay. Maybe it means you should be looking for a different job. Or maybe you should ask yourself, could I be within this job that I'm in now and be better at humbling myself and being of service to it? Maybe that would bring about a better effect, a better feeling about being in that job. When you show up for your family, you show up for your friends, you do the best you can, but you're going to do it the way you do it. That's the freedom. I used to think, oh my God, what everybody gets sober, right? Most people get sober. One of their greatest fears. I'm going to have to be one of those people. I don't want to be like that. I can imagine, the fear is that you're going to lose yourself. That's that core fear. I'm going to lose myself. That's ego, right? But this is a healthy part of ego. You come into the ego self, right? And you get to serve. That's correct use of personal will. Correct use of personal will. I'm in alignment with everything. And from this alignment, I'm open for business. And I've been prepped to serve. I've been prepped to serve in the way that I can serve. And then you serve. And it's not that you are, waiting for, well, I'll serve when I see somebody who maybe needs my help. It's not like that at all. You just show up for life in the spirit and the attitude of being of service, period. You're looking for ways to solve problems. You're looking for ways to contribute. And as my teacher Guru Prem tells me, you don't get to help everybody. You don't get to serve everybody. You serve the people that ask you for help. You serve the people that you can when it's appropriate, meaning they're open to it. And then you bless. You bless everybody else. Because I know it gets a little weird. If you get really, really gung-ho on this service thing, you might think to yourself, well, I'm sure my family wants to hear from me about how I can help them. And if you're anything like me, I can assure you that my family is not looking to me for the next piece of advice in their life, right? So it's not my place. There's a few people that have asked me for help, or some of you guys have reached out, or you're here in this forum and we're willing to have this exchange back and forth. Great. You're here by choice. Obviously I hope that it's serving you in some way. And I can tell you that you're serving me in a huge way just by being here in our exchange of energy. So this can work. But not so going to somebody who's not open to your service or open to your new found freedom and good advice. We have to be careful about that kind of thing. Does it make sense to you guys? Yeah? Okay. So seva, yoga's perspective, right, is when we talk about seva, the concept of seva is selfless service, is being in service to something greater than oneself. It's purely, seva is purely the concept of is purely the idea behind the 12th step. And I would say that it's the idea behind all the 12 steps. This whole thing, it turns out, all it was about was the universe prepping us and then putting us to work to uplift and elevate anyone we came into contact with in the appropriate way. And I mean, how about that? It's what it was about the whole time. So I want to read you a quote from my book, from Recovery 2.0. Let me ask you, before I read this quote, let me ask you a serious question. And I want you to answer honestly. We have 207 people in this room. I'm wondering, honestly, how many of you have either read or listened to my book? How many of you have actually read? So if the answer is no, just say no, no problem. We're not going to go back and find you. So there are many of you that have, and there are many of you that haven't. I will simply say this. I don't feel like I wrote that book. I feel like I was used, and that something wrote the book through me. And it has helped so many people. I say that absolutely humbly. And I encourage any of you to get it and read it and see if it will help, get some of these ideas and many, many more into the process that you're working in recovery. And if you're members, you can listen to the audiobook for free. It's in our membership. So you can just listen to that whenever you want. And so there's another reason to join us and become a part of what we're doing. But I want to read this quote to you from my book. Let's see. All right. These 12 steps offer you a clear path to heal from addiction and transform. The only requirement is for you to be honest through the process and have the willingness to consider what life shows you. If you have that attitude, you will find what you are looking for and get to live the life you were destined to live. That last phrase, live the life you were destined to live. Final concept here, and then we'll say a little Recovery 2.0 prayer, and then we'll call it a night. There's destiny and there's fate. I do not believe it's your destiny to remain stuck in addiction. But I believe you could make decisions to make it your fate. I do not believe your destiny is to be an addict in this life. It's a stepping stone to an incredible life. But you could stay in addiction for at least a lifetime or many, and that would be your fate. These 12 steps, the process of the path of discovery in Recovery 2.0, the path of yoga and meditation, healthy lifestyle and diet, all the reflection that we do together, this is about moving from fate onto your destiny path and taking it as far as it will take you in this life. Thank you for listening. Let's bring the palms together at the heart center. Allow the eyes to close. Let's first take a deep inhale together as a community. And a full exhale. Let's inhale to recite the Recovery 2.0 prayer. Universe, put me in the places you want me to be, with the people you want me to be with, doing the things you want me to do. Thank you for the joys and the challenges of my life. Amen. Satnam, Namaste. This concludes our 3-part series on the 12 steps called Finally Understanding the 12 Steps. My greatest hope is that it inspired you, that you're encouraged to mine the incredible gifts of this particular path, and also to look deeply into the path of yoga and meditation. And if you're called to join us in Recovery 2.0, please come on. Love to have you as we grow this community and we all get to walk the path of discovery in recovery together. Love you just so much and so grateful for your presence here. See you again real soon. Satnam.